All right, so today we are going to be taking a look at a very, 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 very early build of our upcoming Webex Contact Center feature module interface that goes alongside the standard Webex calling offering that we currently have available. This is a very, 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 very early build. It's not complete. It's not fully functioning. But this is just kind of, we're putting it out there to just show you, what's coming, and again, hopefully get some people excited for the upcoming release. So this is our build, or my build in my lab. It's just really I have it connected to our demo / like sandbox interface. So there's a few test calls that I've pulled while placing test calls and everything else. The way it is all going to look. It'll look very similar to what we currently have offered for, Call Manager, Webex calling, Zoom, and Teams, while also borrowing some of the features that we really liked within the contact center or the UCCX interface as well. So we're kind of taking the best of both worlds and then bringing them together in one interface. So it'll piggyback off of the existing Webex setup. So if here under settings, go to Webex organizations, there won't be like a separate platform for just Webex Contact Center. I mean, they can be configured separately, but they're going to be contained under the same section. Here, same thing, OAuth token, give it a name, generate your OAuth token, and then throw it in there. And then where everything will differ, or what you'll see new, is there'll be for each organization you have configured, there'll be now a row for Webex calling, and then a row for Webex Contact Center. They can each be enabled. One could be enabled or disabled. And then moving forward, they're going to share the same database. So Webex calling data and the Webex Contact Center data will be both kind of sharing some of the same sync data, but then the actual, like the Webex calling data and the Webex Contact Center data will be in the same database, but in separate database tables. And then from there, you can fetch older data here, show what's available. There'll be syncs that'll run, once a day to pull in the non-CDR data and everything like that. So kind of the big change, or what's new, or what kind of stands out from the other platforms, is that we'll have the Webex, we'll have the two rows instead of the one. And then what we have so far, so dashboards and widgets aren't ready to go yet. There will be, I believe, in May, a separate webinar that will kind of show off some of the real-time and the historical dashboards and widgets. But for now, really what we have, what's been kind of finalized, or at least is working and completed, we've got call history. So same thing you would see within Webex Contact Center or Webex calling. I keep getting those crossed. You can pick your platform. So Webex Contact Center, go to history, and you'll see, the same thing. So we have all the different search criteria. With the Webex Contact Center data, so far what we've seen, there are a ton of fields available. Some, individual, like I'll show you a little bit of the data, but like there's a lot available. And so kind of like what we're seeing with some of the test calls, I just do a quick search on support queue, do month, and then you'll see all of my test calls, not all of the rows of data. Right now, that these aren't broken into sequences. These are just the individual events. So you're going to see a much higher call count. I placed maybe a dozen or so, maybe 2 dozen test calls, but they're all, but they create a lot of records. Much kind of like with Webex, where you and Call Manager, where we're like cradle to grave, and like the overall sequences are going to be super important to look at when you're looking at the entire flow of the call. But yeah, I mean, we get all the basics, date, time, and everything's kind of broken down to like customer and agent. So we have the customer number, the customer information, the agent information, the queue information, and then a bunch of different timestamps, the usual contact center, talk time, hold time, ring time, handle time, queue times, hopefully not yet ready, but the different dispositions, the call direction. I mean, here's just some of the columns that we're seeing in the detail side. So a lot of on the different agent side, date times, different durations. You've got, like I said, handled, contact, ring, post-call duration, wrap-up times, wrap-up codes will be there. Information, the information on the surveys, callbacks, which we didn't really have a clean way of doing it in Contact Center Express. But Webex Contact Center, not calling, gives us a really easy way of looking at the callback information, campaigns, entry point skills, teams, and there's that wrap-up data there too. And all that good stuff. And so again, like with every other platform we support, it's the design of our interface is going to look the same, where you have call history, the reports, and the schedules. Reports aren't really, they work, and there is the detail section. Grouping and search set is the grouping stats, and the search set stats are being worked on this week. So hopefully in our next webinar, these should be available. I can kind of show you kind of what we can do with the grouping and the search set stats. But right now, what we really get is just the call history details in this build. Same thing as call history, but the final product will look the exact same, with kind of like what we're seeing with Call Manager and Webex Calling, where you have basic search sets, grouping, search sets, stats, and the call history, and then C2G should be down here below. And then really, it's kind of a departure from what we saw with Contact Center or Contact Center Express, CCX, where with CCX, you could either do an agent report or a queue report, and that kind of limited you to what you could group on, whether you're only grouping on agent or queue. Now you'll be able to group on, teams, agents, queues, entry points, really anything like you can with the Call Manager data as well. So, I can just throw some stuff here, basic sample type reports, search set, we'll just throw in anything. I think I can just do customer number, capital X, a wild card, run it, and let's go back to month. There we go. So same report that we used to see, there's our search criteria, and then here's our detail. Now these are not individual calls. These are all the events in the call. So really, this is only a handful of calls. I think maybe 30 calls total that have just all these different rows of data. And so there'll be different ways of, looking at these records where you can filter on certain legs. And there might be some other ways of consolidating this data in the future. But yeah, so right now, details ready to go, or it's up and running. And then, like I said, grouping and search are next. And then, keep on going from there. If you really want to see the data, so here's kind of what the database looks like as far as the data goes. When I say that there's a bunch of records, without getting too much into the weeds, Webex gives us activity records and then session records. So like the session record is like the global kind of higher record that kind of content that all of the activity records are associated to. And then from there, if we just look at the activity records, you'll see like for each call, we'll see, I don't know if you can see, this might be kind of small, but then each call kind of gives us the entire flow of the call. So like new call starts, connects, ends, and then we can see a little bit of everything. If I did like, let's do here 43. So right now, if I did this, we can see the way the call looks. We get new. We can see when the call, like the flow. We see a bunch of like these flow started, flow activity records, but we can see when the call is queued. That's connected here. This is where test call to myself where I didn't answer. So this would be like ring no answer. Call gets parked. Then I went available again. So then the call connects. It connected to the agent and wrap up. So this is kind of what we see for the entire call flow of the day of the call. So we get all these different events, and then we can put their place under one session record. And so what you're seeing in the reports are all of these. Where's my report go? So what you're seeing in the report, all these records here are those the activity records, and then there's also data from the session records are also brought in to kind of fill out the data, and then you can mix and match, and then pull the data that way.